Hey everyone, and welcome back to Let's Build Lothloria. This is episode 13. Last episode we were over here, showing off the workshop, and then also laying out plans for the rest of the town and kind of the order that is kind of going to be built in. I'm going to go ahead and just raise this up. I went ahead and connect the crane down to here so you can raise and lower it while standing on the ground. I got rid of the actual turn mechanism that would be built into it. I couldn't get it to work. I would actually have to take the whole thing apart and build it again, probably. But, you know, just kind of running into it, I don't think it's a bad, option right now. So, this is kind of what I did off camera. I was making a couple iterations of how I want this place to look. There's going to be very little grass here. I haven't done any of the terrain painting, but the roads are going to be pretty much all soil with kind of the mud of the woods highlighting most of it, and then maybe the rock grass texture to do some gravel work along the edges of the buildings, but there'll be very little grass, if any, in this area. So yeah, so all these things are kind of jammed together, little houses, and just thrown in this random configuration, and they all will have dirt floors, so that just represents how lowly they are in terms of the income level. These guys would be like the laborers, like people that would be helping with the bulk of building, and then also miners would be living in here. I mean, some of these can be pretty small. I mean, like a single person could probably have a bed, a table in here, and maybe a fire pit to cook his food, but really that would be it. And then there are also some other larger rooms that might hold like a small single family, and then some areas I went ahead and tried to stack some on top of each other, like they were running out of room, so they just started building up, and they get, a little shack as well. And all of these ones are going to have awnings. They have very large entryways. I think it's just because the ground level is so low here that when it's sitting on the foundation it just looks really tall. Everything else I built had a floor, so it didn't feel like this. But I mean, the windows are almost unusable. I may have to raise up the terrain a little bit just to make it flow a little better. This one actually has a loft area. This one could actually be a multi-family home, maybe, or maybe kind of the foreman could live in this area, kind of overwatching and making sure everyone's doing their jobs and duties. And it's just a nice little, I think, mishmash of buildings and roof types and wood accents. This one actually has a kind of a little watch post. You can kind of keep guard, make sure no one's stealing too much. Thieves, I'm sure, would find their way here and would live here and thrive a little bit. And we're going to be working on these two areas next, and then also off camera I'll probably cut to when all of these are done. This one actually has a little bridge that'll cross the street and into another house. So it's just a very communal area. Everyone's kind of living and working together to survive and get their job done, so the royals and everything can be happy with them and won't tax them in too much. And I'm trying to work in some roof elements as well. Some maybe some flat areas where people would walk and maybe hang out. Since everything is so close together, you can almost be like a ninja at this point. I mean, jumping from building to building, which I think is a cool thing to do. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and start work on this. Laying these out, I mean, it's basically you just put a maze with doors and little rooms, and then roofing is the hard part because you have to decide where the roof layout is going to be. And so basically, I just look for the long axis of most buildings and then go from there. So we'll go ahead and lay out the basic triangles. That's going to represent the ends of each roof. And this one's going to actually merge here into a corner. And then also, I guess I can just take that straight across. I mean, having a little overhang there I don't think would look too bad or have a bad idea. I could maybe put a bench and a table there, make it look like someone might be peddling small goods. And then also I need to make sure that has a piece there. And we can go ahead and toss down the thatch roofing. Now, there was an update today which introduced some new things and fixed some problems, but also brought in some new problems. So I'm getting weird texture glitches, which the thatch roof, only on certain areas. Basically, this top part that generates when you put two together just has a weird texture glitch. And so, like up there and there, it's just kind of spotty everywhere. Not a big deal, it's just a visual thing. But they did fix structural integrity with most roof problems. So this place can be turned back on to structural integrity. I just haven't done it yet. There's a couple areas that I'm going to have to touch up and make sure it'll hold before I do that. But I will be putting structural integrity back on here in the next episode or so. Go ahead and plop some roof. Like so. Gotta get the corner piece. That. Then I guess they can't really have a window here if there's gonna be a roof. Somewhat of a problem when you do a building like this. You don't know how the roofing is going to lay out, and so when I laid out these walls, things are going to be changing a little bit on the fly. But that's okay. Nothing we can't deal. And I'll go ahead and put a new corner piece. Ooh, which one do we want? Do I want it to face in like that, or buckle? I think that one technically fits the look most consistently. Most roof will not have this. Like this is technically a problem area. Water and everything will get trapped down there and just eat away at your walls. But it's not a big deal to me. I mean, it's fantasy, so I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna make it try and fit the best I can and go from there. So here we're going to make some more triangle supports, in which case, you know, making sure you have all the supports, again, very important. It will continue to be important pretty much forever, and I will keep mentioning it so you guys basically, you know, when you're building your own stuff, that you kind of know what to expect and how everything's going to behave with you. So I'm just gonna have a flat spot there. If ladders were in, maybe I could put a little balcony. No ladders, so I'm not gonna plan for it right now. But it would definitely be a nice feature to have eventually. So we'll go ahead and, oh, how do I want this to work? Like that, maybe. And there. And there. You know, you kind of want to use the long axis of every building as a good reference point to put your triangle pieces and supports, because there will always be, you know, it's just a good, that's just where roofs are usually built. So it's along the long axis, it looks nice. You're not going to get this little stubby thing that just kind of sticks out there. Go ahead and do this. so. There we go. Looks a little weird, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and throw a different shape into it real quick. Which might not work, but it should. So basically, I'm going to try and bring this to a different angle. That way, you know, you don't have this straight line that just ends, and you know, I didn't want these two vertical lines. I wanted something to break it, and so that's why I did that. And then I guess we can do the top buildings. One of these. You know, I could just give them this area. I mean, really, there's no reason not to. I mean, it's just one tile. It's not going to be a big deal. It won't change the shape really hardly at all. And then throw the door back in. Oh, need another wall. Now I've noticed that I go into the menu a lot to build, and some people like to drag everything out onto their hotbar, but to me it's just almost as fast to kind of double click the icon that I want, because I can't just scroll wheel to pick the number. I would actually have to use the keyboard to pick the number, and I don't really enjoy doing it that way. I think I want this to, you know, come to a completely different point than the rest. Just gonna try and cover all my bases and make sure every angle is covered. And it should... Is that the angle? What's the angle for that? Should go inwards and outwards, so should actually... I don't think I need anything there. Well, that's convenient. We'll see when we're actually placing it. It's one of those things you just don't know until you do. And aha! I can fit a window in the structure. I wanted one, just didn't know where it was going to go. Perfect. And this is a nicer structure, so we'll just use the wooden tiles here. Just to make it look different, and you know, you don't want to always use the thatch for everything, and you know, then the whole thing's just gonna look brown and boring. I used the wrong piece there. There's that one. That one. Yeah, you want to get a little creative with your roofing. You don't want it to always look the same. And you know, I think I'll just flatten it at those spots. I don't want it to get too tall. Like that. And then for flat areas, this is just my personal thing that I do, is I bring in a wooden trim so that it looks just a little bit more flush. It doesn't look just like a chunk of wood that was thrown on top. If I can just get it to line up. So it's a bit of a problem when you're doing little details like this. And also, you'll notice I'm not getting that strobe effect. I don't know what was causing it. I think it's actually doing terrain because it's trying to reload a lot of textures. So I guess they fixed it. When I was doing the other ones, it kind of came back, but since I restarted it, it kind of fixed itself again, so I'm hoping it stops doing that completely. That would be nice. And I won't be getting a headache today, if I can. Come on, please. Fit. Thank you. And there. And there. Like that. There we go. Comes to a nice frame. And yeah, it is definitely supposed to look like a mishmash of buildings. And just, you know, jam together. And that's how this will work. So, did I put all the archways in yet? No. So for the doors, I was using archways. And I have to use pillars for the bottom part. This wasn't even a door, this is like a little cutaway. Huh. I don't know, it looks nice. Whatever. Having an arch isn't a bad thing. How do you get in here? There we go. And we'll go ahead and throw some pieces like that to seal that off. Yep. And then also what I do is I put wooden ceilings in all the houses. They need to, you know, I don't want them to look like they have all of this open space. I want it to look even smaller and more confined. Though, I mean, they have like 10-foot tall ceilings. They almost have bigger ceilings than the other houses because there's no floor and foundation. So at least they get something special. I mean, they can hang things from the rafters. You could argue that's why they have a taller ceiling. And I'll do that here. Now you're going to lose parts of your roofing by doing this. It just is what it is. I almost wish you could, well, actually, let's see. Can I do that? Control-Shift-C. Uh-oh. Oh, no. I don't want to copy the whole thing. So. I was hoping you could use the other control copy and paste function on these little overhangs and maybe pick up just the edges and you could lay those around. That would be a cool little thing. And then just for that little added detail so you can know where all the doors are, I go ahead and throw a little roofed peak by all the entrances. You know, you want them noticeable, easy to locate, and just, you know, another layer of detail that is nice to have. Now these sides, they don't have a roof there, so I'll just use an awning. All doors will probably have an awning. So let's see. Yeah, this looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and cut to when this whole area is built and finished, and I'll be right back. Alright, so this is the finished lower class area in terms of building layout. There's a good bit of detail I want to add. I want to make it look really lived in and super cluttery because they don't have much space to store their items, and so there's just going to be chests and barrels just thrown everywhere. Of course, I'm going to try not to go too overboard with it and just make it look ugly, but you know, it just needs to look lived in and well worn. Because right now it does look a little pristine in you know, areas. I mean, some things look a little too nice maybe, but overall I'm liking how it looks and I'm pretty happy with it. And fitting all these buildings together where it's a bit of a challenge and it's something new and fresh to the town, I really like this bridge. Like, I can just picture just hanging up out there, watching people walk by, and you know, it's just kind of a cool thing to think about. And I'll go ahead and pull back and give you a nice view of what it looks like with the rest of the town. There should be, I think there needs to be some connecting details here and maybe here, but I'm waiting for like where I want to put the actual smeltery for the mine. I don't know where I want that yet. So that's that section of the town done. We'll go ahead to my like favorite viewing tower, and this is what it looks like from the palace plateau. In the next episode, I hope, you know, we'll go over some details that I finished off camera down there, and then also we'll start laying the groundwork for the fort that will go up here, the main fortification for the palace, and that way we'll be back in this area. We'll be taking a little bit of a break from the city and working back up here. And thanks again for watching, subbing, commenting, you know, it means a lot for me. And I'll see you guys in the next one.